my name's Angela Wallace, and I'm the curator here at the Port Dover Harbour Museum. Our museum is pretty special. It represents the commercial fishing history of Port Dover, along with the history of the community. This is our wheelhouse. This is part of a Great Lakes freighter, and it was built in 1912 and operated into the 1980s. It's the William P. Schneider. And when they decommissioned the boat, it was being scrapped, and so a local volunteer, Duner Meisner, he actually donated the wheelhouse to the museum. And when they built the addition, they just incorporated the wheelhouse. It's hands-on. You can try your hand at the wheel, and the views are absolutely beautiful. So you can see the river, and then you can see the lake, and of course you can see the commercial fish tugs. I think one of the most significant and interesting exhibits is about the Atlantic shipwreck. We're very fortunate to have the artifacts from that shipwreck. The artifacts were brought up in the 90s by a local scuba diver named Mike Fletcher. This was a significant shipwreck. It occurred in 1852, and like all shipwrecks, it was very tragic, but it was the worst loss of life on Lake Erie. So the story goes, there was a group of people coming from Norway. So they're immigrating from Norway, and they were immigrating to the States. They managed to get across the ocean, and then they boarded the Atlantic along Lake Erie. And the Atlantic at the time, in the 1850s, it's kind of similar to the Titanic, which was several years later, but it was similar in the fact that it was a newer type of ship. So it had luxurious things at the time. So they had a dining room, they had actual sleeping areas for people. And during the night in August, they were hit by another ship in the middle of the night, and the ship sank. And approximately 300 people died. And sadly, a lot of the people who were immigrating from Norway lost their lives on Lake Erie. The first building in our museum was actually a net shanty. It was constructed by the MacDonald family in the 1920s. And we're located right along where the traditional commercial fishing area was. So if you came to this area in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, there would be net shanties lined on both sides of the river. We are, I think, the only building right now on this side of the river, so things have changed significantly over the past 100 years. Our net shanty really is the heart of the museum. Was purchased in the 1970s and became the Port Dover Harbour Museum in 1978. And in that building, you'll see tools and equipment used in the commercial fishing industry in the 40s, but a lot of those tools and equipment are still used today. So I think that old saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of applies to the commercial fishing industry. We also have on the main floor exhibits relating to the boat building history of Port Dover. So when you visit, you'll see the beautiful park next door. Well, in the 70s and early 80s, that was actually the home to Duratug. And Duratug was a Port Dover company that built a variety of boats. I think the one we most often talk about is the Maid of the Mist 6. So if you've been to Niagara Falls and ridden on the Maid of the Mist, the Maid of the Mist 6 was actually built here at the park next door. We have a small exhibit about the War of 1812. So in 1814, actually the little hamlet of Port Dover, at the time it was the hamlet of Dover, it was just a small community, and at that time some Americans came over. There were about 700, I believe. They came over in their boats, and they came to the town and they actually burnt it down. So they had the people leave their homes. They burnt down those homes, and they actually killed the livestock. So they killed the pigs in the street. This is part of the story. And there's one house in Port Dover that actually, according to legend, survived that burning. And the story is that the woman that lived there, she saw these young boys, because they would be younger, a lot of the soldiers at the time. So they were, 13, 14, and they were the same age as her children. And she gave them bread and milk, and at the time it said that they spared her house. So that's kind of an interesting connection to the War of 1812. We do have changing exhibits upstairs in our upper gallery. Right now we have an exhibit on Richard the Woodcarver. We used to have an exhibit about the Prohibition era, but we don't have that anymore. But during Prohibition there was a lot of rum running back and forth across Lake Erie. Thank you so much for visiting the Port Dover Museum. We are open in the summer from July 1st to Labor Day Monday. We're open every day from 10 to 4:30. During the off season, from Labor Day to July 1st, we're open Tuesday to Friday, 10 to 4:30, and Saturdays from 12 to 4. Admission is by donation, so people are welcome to pay whatever they would like. If you'd like to learn more about the Port Dover Museum, please visit us on Facebook. We're on Instagram and on Twitter. And we also have a website, www.portdovermuseum.ca. And thank you so much for visiting.